Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is going to be a speed build for Nalani and Theo. If you're watching my Whimsy story series, then you know that they just bought this plot of land and now we are building them their house. So part of the rules for the Whimsy stories is in the first generation, you're supposed to move into a micro home, like a micro mini home. And it's supposed to be like a suburban home, which I don't really know how micro homes are supposed to exactly fit into a suburban style. I kind of had an idea, but I know this neighborhood that I moved Theo and Nalani into, when it updates, it's pretty modern suburban, so I decided to go a little bit more modern. This photo right here is what I found on Pinterest as my inspiration, and that's kind of what I'm basing this build off of. I did have a little bit of trouble with the architecture style because there's like a bump out in the inspiration photo, as you guys can see, and I had a really hard time trying to incorporate those. I keep trying to add them, but they take up a extra bit of tile and it's not usable space technically, really. So I ended up getting rid of that and I tried to make do with some columns, but it just doesn't really work out the way I want to because of the requirements for tiles at the bottom. The micro mini home is only like 32 tiles, I think, and I was always just going over it by one or two, which disqualifies it for that, and it's part of the challenge to be in one that small. So you see me struggle a little bit. I struggle a little bit with the layout on the inside as well, but overall it's not too bad because since it's so small and such a simple shape, I didn't find that it was too insanely difficult. I am not a builder by any means. I don't build. I typically am someone who gets everything off of the gallery. So I enjoyed this challenge of building my own space. When I went into doing the Whimsy Stories series, I wanted to make sure that I built the house myself and everything. I'm not sure about future generations, but especially for this one, because it just seemed like part of the storyline was that you build your own house, So I wanted it to be, built by Theo and Nalani, and like this is what they did together. It's simple. They're not contractors, so it makes sense that it's not the most, advanced, technically challenging looking house. But overall, I'm really happy with it. It's really cozy once I get everything all done, and overall just really pleased. I try to use a lot of stuff from Eco Lifestyle in this, but I mixed a lot of packs. I love those Eco Lifestyle windows, the one on the front that is angled out. I think it gives it a more interesting architectural shape to everything, and I think it just really fits. And I don't tend to use that wood tone that I put on the front of the house very often, but I feel like it works with the color of the roof and everything that I ended up putting in, so that really helps. To border out the front porch, I used those curtain rods that we got with Desert Oasis, which was a free kit for a little bit, and I use it so much. Again, I think it just adds that extra detail without taking up more space, and just, I think, finished out the way the front looks. Moving into the bedroom, I struggled with this because obviously I have to have a double bed in there for both of them, and I still wish that it was more functional for them to scoot over, but it's really hard to get Sims to do that. And I couldn't fit a desk or really anything else at the other end, which was unfortunate. So right now it's really just a bed and some decorations in there. Again, I kind of wish there was more space, but it is a tiny home. A lot of the stuff that they're going to be doing will be outdoors. They're both very outdoorsy Sims, so I think it makes sense. And then I'm incorporating a lot of green and nature tones into this because the children that this generation has to have nature names. So I felt like greens had a better place in this home than in other homes. You'll see it especially in the downstairs area. In the first bathroom I built them is really green and really nature inspired. The bathroom was probably the biggest struggle because I know you can make a 3-tile bathroom, but I just felt like it was limiting, so I ended up building a slightly bigger one so I could decorate it more. But you guys will see towards the end of the video, I go back and I undo it again and I just give them a single 3x1 kind of bathroom. which really sucks because this first original bathroom that you guys are seeing, I loved. I loved the way it looked. Eventually we can upgrade the house when Nalani and Theo are adults, and we can make it slightly bigger. It always has to be a tiny home, but we can make it out of the micro size eventually, which I think will be really nice. And I'll probably give them this kind of style bathroom back. Because I loved the way it looked. Another part of this challenge is it's supposed to be a house full of plants. I haven't quite filled it with plants, and I didn't end up finishing everything that I wanted to in this house because obviously I was working with their budget. I worked with only the money they had, and I tried to, incorporate as much as I could that way. This kitchen that you guys are seeing right now as well is also the first iteration, and this gets changed when I changed the bathroom. So they do end up having more space in their kitchen, less space in their bathroom, which is probably more important. Food is probably a little bit more important than having a spacious bathroom, especially when you can make a bathroom smaller that still functions well. I mean, they were homeless before this. I don't think they're as fussed about, having a nice bathroom. But again, I love the way this little bathroom turned out with all the plants in there, with that leaf rug in there. I just thought it was super adorable. I love all of the green tones and everything. But you guys will be seeing there's going to be I take a break, I think I took a break for like a day or two, and then I went back to this and I was like, oh, I gotta change it. And I'm adding all the details and everything. I'm adding pictures. I added a light switch. I added all of the details into this, and I ended up having to, completely redo this bathroom. So I'm a little upset now watching this again because I'm like, oh, I just loved the way it looked. Adding in the dining room area, and I'm noticing how squishy it is because of this bathroom at this point. When I put the couch in, I was like, okay, this is very squishy. I can't even fit like a table or shelves or anything. So I was like, okay, this I don't think is gonna work. I'm like trying to convince myself at this point of the recording. I remember telling myself, I'm like, oh no, this is a tiny home, like it should feel this squishy. But I just knew that there was probably a better way for me to organize this whole house. I'm still trying to push through because, again, I don't build very often, so I always second guess myself. I wish I would have just kind of went with my intuition at this point and been like, oh no, it's too small, and it would have, and just started redoing it at this point. But I definitely had to take a break and come back to come to that realization. But you guys will be seeing that in just a moment. I basically finished this whole thing too. So now I'm just play testing. I'm bringing Theo and Nalani in because I wanted to see if everything was functional. And it was at this point for the most part, except for the toilet. So I ended up having to move those plants around anyways. And this is where I take a break. So I'm going to work on the exterior and the landscaping a little bit. I tend to have to do builds like this if I end up building, is I have to kind of just break it up. So what you see is I'm going through debug and I'm just grabbing a bunch of stuff. This is not the final landscape. I'm just grabbing everything that I think I'm going to want and throwing it into the front lawn area. It's just all of the plants. I do have more plans for their landscaping as well that I haven't done, but we will do that. You will hear about that in future videos. But I love these little planter boxes from Debug. I took those, lined the front of the house, and I'm trying to figure out a good place for this mailbox. And then I added extra plants on top of that planter box to kind of make it look different and varied. And then I love using fences from Debug for actual fences because you can get them closer to the plot line. So I ended up doing that. I lined the entire area with this Debug fence. I think this Debug fence came with high school years, I believe. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it's amazing. I love the way it looks. It works so well, I think, with this neighborhood, especially once this neighborhood is all finished. So I am just completely fencing this whole area, and then I'm adding all of those flowers that I pull up onto this little space on the side because I'm going to end up adding a dumpster to that side. That way we can continue to go through the dumpsters and I don't have to buy a different trash can for them to throw their stuff away in. We'll just use the dumpster. But I love the way the fence pulls it all together in the end, and then just adding again all of these flowers to this little side area. Again, once the neighborhood is clean and updated, it will look so good. With everything else, I'm just pulling out one of those Debug houses to kind of check and see if I think they look like they would go together, which I think they do. I think everything works out. And then as you guys can see right there, there's the dumpster. I'm just doing some terrain painting to kind of blend the flower beds kind of in. And eventually I would like to do like in the back, like a whole like winding walk-through garden area, but that's definitely a later project. Right now we're just adding the terrain paint showing us to the back of the house, which the back of the house is where they have to go up their ladder to get to their bedroom, which I think is okay. Again, once we have kids and we can update the house, that will be really nice, because I don't think little kids are going to enjoy going up that ladder. We'll probably do like a tent or something for the parents when the kids are first born. But here we go. Here I am realizing I need to reconfigure the inside of the bottom floor. And I know with the university showers, you can walk through them, so that shower can be right in front of the door. So I figured that's what we're gonna have to do to make more space. The shower is gonna be right where the toilet is, basically. And it's just going to be a really small bathroom. It kind of reminds me of like the bathrooms that you would get if you like moved to Korea into one of those apartments. If you know any people who taught English in Korea, then you know what I'm talking about. But very similar to that kind of, the whole bathroom is the shower. But it ends up making so much more space for livable area in there to change that bathroom to that size. So I'm glad I did it. I'm not 100% pleased that I had to get rid of that cute little bathroom, but we end up being able to fit a desk in here, a bookshelf, one of those small ones from the Book Nook kit. Some more plants go in here, which is all part of the challenge. It's supposed to have a ton of plants inside, so I was able to actually do that. And I was actually able to fit in one of the Tiny Living TV stands. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. We're gonna go through the house right now. Small eat-in kitchen, tiny little bathroom, which I do like, not as much as the other one, but I do like. And then if we go up, it's just this really small neutral bedroom that I realize I now need to fix that paint. So there we go, fix the bedroom paint. And that, guys, is the entire house. I hope you guys enjoyed this speed build, and I can't wait to get into the next episode of Whimsy Stories. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!